2018 FIM Ice Speedway World Team Championship comes to Shadrinsk for the first time, continuing a decade-long tradition of the competition's biennial visits to Russia. A two-day title race features the top nations from around the world in what is Ice Speedway's equivalent of a World Cup contest. The 40th edition of the World Team Championship introduces a new competition format with just the top 6 teams from 2017 meeting over a two-day 30-heat format. 35 times winners Russia will again be the favourites, but each of the other competing teams have a vast Ice Speedway pedigree as well. All 6 have at least 10 podium finishes in their history. It's a completely new lineup for Finland after the retirement of Antti Akko, and with Finnish champion Matt Jav sitting out international competition. Anything better than the basement position would be a shock result for a team that lines up with the acquisition of world-level experience its main goal. For the first time in over a decade, the Czech Republic line up without both Antonin and Jan Klotowski, and their next most experienced man, Andrej Diviš, is also withdrawn. A major challenge awaits Radek and Lukas Hutler, whose aim will surely be to hold the team's world number 5 ranking. Our chances were a bit better a week ago, but now Jan Klotowski has withdrawn injured, so I'm here with my father and another older rider, which reduces our expectations. But we must fight for every point and we'll see what happens. Our main challenge is our battle with Finland, but we won't give up on 3rd or 4th place either. Sweden's policy of progression to a youth lineup has played out perfectly over the last 3 seasons, and they now have a real chance to challenge for a top ranking with a trio of under-30s. For 2018, Stefan Svensson is replaced by Martin Hara Hiltonen, who makes his World Team Championship debut. I'm very proud to represent the Swedish team because we have a lot of strong riders in Sweden and only 3 places. The expectation is for a place on the podium, but to win, we would all need to be at our best. Germany surprised Sweden in 2017 by taking a place on the podium on home ice, their best finish for 8 years. Even with the same lineup this season, it will be a struggle for them to hold on to that ranking against the fast-rising Swedes. This year will be a lot more difficult, firstly because I'm not in the best shape after my injury, from which I still haven't recovered. But even more than that, we're in Russia, rather than in my living room in Insel like last year. But I'm sure we're going in the right direction and anything can happen in this competition. For a second consecutive season, Austria are without Harald Simon, the veteran withdrawn for injury after a semi-final crash in Astana. Charlie Ebner steps up again, having helped guide his team to a runner-up position last year. Russia are the team to beat, their top trio having gone unbeaten in 12 races last year. A single change to their lineup sees Daniil Ivanov return in place of Igor Kononov as the favourites bid for a 16th consecutive title. It's great to be back in the Russian team. I look forward to the opportunity, but it's too early to talk about another medal at the moment. Everybody is aiming to win, and especially to beat Russia, because we've been dominant for many years. But nobody is guaranteed anything. Anybody can lose in racing. So look at the lineup in full. 3 world champions lead the Russian challenge. Germany are the only unchanged team from 2017. Finland are the competition's weak link. Austria are down to just 2 men with no room for error. Sweden are best placed to challenge Russia. And the Czech Republic may rely too heavily on Lukas Hutler. Russia not only has the most successful ice speedway nation, but also the largest fan base and one of the longest associations with the sport. The first ever team championship was staged in what was then the Soviet Union back in 1979, and the 2018 event is the 15th staging to take place here. But having hosted its first World Championship event in 2017, it's the first time that the Torpedo Stadium has seen the top teams in the world meet in front of a fanatical local crowd. We join the action at the start of the second round of heats with a meet-up between two of the top three teams from the first three races of the day. It's Austria versus Russia. Franz Zorn off the inside start position in blue, the lead Austrian. Gate 2 alongside him. In as a reserve switch, it's Dmitry Komitsevich for Russia. Gate 3, Charlie Ebner for Austria. And Dmitry Koltykov for Russia completing the lineup. Good start from Franz Zorn off the inside, not quite good enough to get the better of Dmitry Komitsevich, and Dmitry Koltykov has slotted between the two of them up front to hit the front into turn number 3. So it's Koltykov who leads at the end of the opening lap, ahead of Komitsevich in second, and Franz Zorn starting to drop back now into the clutches of his teammate Charlie Ebner. And it's the Austrians who look set to do battle over the single point, but it's not doing their cause any good at all. The Russians are blasting well clear here. Good move on the first couple of turns from Dmitry Koltykov. It looked as though Komitsevich was going to move right across the front of him coming off the second turn, and Koltykov cut back sweetly on the outside of Zorn but on the inside of Komitsevich. And now it is Koltykov, the reigning world champion, who has an advantage the length of a straight over his nearest Austrian rival, Franz Zorn, back in third position. It's going to be a big 5-1 to Russia. Austria will move on to 6 and the Russians on to 10. Another comfortable 5-1 maximum heat advantage for the host nations. This time it's a first race victory of the day for Dmitry Koltykov. Substitute rider Dmitry Komitsevich coming in for Daniil Ivanov takes second position. The single point in third going the way of Franz Zorn, a 5-1 to Russia. Second of the round 2 heat races sees the Czech Republic take on Finland. Each of these teams with just a single point after their opening ride. Lukas Hüttler off the inside gate for the Czech Republic. Matti Iso-Aho of Finland off gate 2. Gate 3 in blue, Vladimir Visveda for the Czech Republic. And Jussi Nairanen off the outside for Finland. Good starts from the Czech Republic riders off 1 and 3. Hüttler in particular has got there. Around the outside of him comes Vladimir Visveda, and it's the Czech Republic who are on for a 5-1 here. Matti Iso-Aho attempting to gain ground on the top turn, but he's blocked out by his own teammate, Jussi Nairanen, coming through for the single points-paying position. Back on the inside now, Iso-Aho comes through for third place, but this is looking like a comfortable 5-1 at the moment for the Czech Republic, although just as I say that, a huge turn of speed from the Finn on the inside line coming off turn 4, and he's now within striking distance of Vladimir Visveda and gets past him coming off turn 2, just as the race is stopped for his teammate Jussi Nairanen, who's gone down heavily. Three riders only then for the restaging after the disqualification of Jussi Nairanen. A second attempt here for his teammate Matti Iso-Aho off gate number 2. The Czech Republic riders either side of him have again made the starts. It's Lukas Hüttler who gets there first, Vladimir Visveda straight to the outside, and this time Matti Iso-Aho on the pace right on the first 2 turns, coming through for second place. Visveda relegated to third and dropping back. And it's the big gun for the Czech Republic and for Finland, who are sitting up in the top 2 positions. It's Lukas Hüttler again, the hold shot king, who leads the way down the back straight. But it's Matti Iso-Aho now looking to the inside, trying to find a way through, probing down the inside of the straights. Hüttler has the mid-track, the racing line here, and getting a rough ride on the inside. It's Matti Iso-Aho of Finland, starting to drop back there, coming off turn number 2. Looks set to be a 4-2 heat advantage to the Czech Republic. As we come now into the closing stages, it's Lukas Hüttler of the Czech Republic, the only one of this Czech team to have really featured regularly for the Czech Republic team in recent years. He's going to run wide on the final 2 turns, and up the inside of him comes Matti Iso-Aho. Drag race down to the line, and the Finns nicked it on the final turn. Great ride there from Matti Iso-Aho to take the Checo flag ahead of Lukas Hüttler, and it's a shared result from heat number 5. Germany versus Sweden now. The Swedes looking to keep pace with the meeting leaders. Russia will need a 5-1 from this one. They go off the outside gates with Ove Ledstrom and Martin Hara-Hiltonen. The rider off the outside gate making his first appearance of the meeting. It's Günther Bauer off gate 1 and Hans Weber off gate 3 for the Germans. Just a single point first time out for Germany. Getting underway then with heat number 6. Good jump from the Swedes. Bauer's missed it off the inside. It's Ove Ledstrom who gets there first. Hara-Hiltonen at the moment trapped between the 2 German riders. He moves straight up to the outside line on turns 3 and 4. Hans Weber has the inside and pulls alongside. It's a shared heat then as things stand, as Hans Weber gets the better of Martin Hara-Hiltonen, the star man for the Swedes in Astana in the opening round of the World Championship itself. Weber comes diving down the inside of Bauer, and Hara-Hiltonen will pass the pair. A big error of misjudgment there from Hans Weber, who swept wide around the outside of turn number 2. and then dive bomb down the inside of his own teammates into turn 3. Bauer was pushed wide, and Harri Hiltunen has passed a pair of them. And this is exactly the result that Sweden needed. They will move on to 10 points alongside Russia, with Austria dropping back in this second round of heats. On board with Ove Ledstrom as he heads towards a second consecutive victory. Harri Hiltunen will get a paid win from his first ride, and the single point in third eventually going the way of Hans Weber. A dejected-looking Günther Bauer out at the back. Germany were on for a shared result there. Hans Weber made the wrong decision, moved his teammate out of the way, and Harri Hiltunen passed the pair for a 5-1 for Sweden. So maximum returns in the opening 2 rounds then leave Russia and Sweden out in front. Austria, the only other team to have taken a heat advantage, sit in third. Austria versus Germany here. The Germans yet to beat an opposing rider. Franz Horn for Austria off the inside gate, 4 points from 2 rides. Günther Bauer off gate 2 in yellow. Charlie Ebner for the Austrians off gate 3 in blue. And Hans Weber off the outside gate in white. Disappointing start it's been so far for Germany. Austria need to bounce back after being on the receiving end of a 5-1 against Russia last time out. Heat 8 gets underway. Decent start from Hans Weber, who cuts straight across the front of Charlie Ebner, but it's his teammate Günther Bauer who's making progress down the inside on the back straight. He's going to make a move here on Franz Horn and put the Germans into a 4-2 heat advantage as things stand. 2 separate races going on at the moment. Günther Bauer on the inside in yellow, getting the better of Franz Horn up front, and Charlie Ebner trying to overhaul Hans Weber, who sits in third position. Ebner on the inside on turns 3 and 4. Weber closing in though on Franz Horn, trying to make it a 5-1 heat advantage for the Germans. Bauer though has gone wide on turns 1 and 2. Zorn cuts up the inside. All 3 riders in the mix here, and Zorn comes lunging down the inside of Günther Bauer. From a distance back, the German will try to cut back off turn number 4, but it's Hans Weber, his teammate, who has the pace. Bauer releases him to try and chase down Franz Zorn out in front. Bauer again comes back at Zorn on the inside line. The Germans swarming all over the Austrian heat leader, but it's going to be Franz Zorn who takes it, and a close run down to the line for third position as well, with Charlie Ebner closing in. He can't quite get there. It's Zorn who takes the checkered flag. Bauer in second position, Hans Weber in third. One of the best races of the day so far, and it sees Austria take the 3 race points and the race win, but Germany pack in for second and third, a 3-all. So maximum returns for Sweden and Russia in heats 7 and 9, leaving them tied at the top of the standings ahead of their round 5 meet-up. Austria trail the meeting leaders by 6 points, coming in off the outside gates to take on the Czech Republic. Lukas Hüttler, the Czech heat leader, off the inside start position in blue. It's Charlie Ebner, non-scoring rides in his last 2 outings, off gate 2 in white. Vladimir Visveder of the Czech Republic, his third ride of the day, he goes off gate 3 in red. And Franz Zorn, 2 race wins already to his name, goes off the outside for Austria. We are underway with heat number 10. Zorn with a fine start off the outside gate, but it's Lukas Hüttler who gets there on the inside and almost surprises Franz Zorn down the back straight. He's there on the inside line, and it's the Czech rider challenging for the race lead at the end of the opening lap. Expectedly, it's Franz Zorn who picks it up, but Hüttler at the moment splitting the Austrian duo, and it will only be a 4-2 heat advantage to Austria as things stand, because Charlie Ebner is well adrift for the moment of Lukas Hüttler, who's challenging again for the race lead coming off turn number 4. Franz Zorn just about holding on, but he's looking far from convincing in this one, heat number 10, as he bids for his 3rd race victory of the day. Zorn already on 7 points of the Austrian team's 9-point total. Blast wide again on the top turn, and Hüttler is only now starting to drop back, and Charlie Ebner coming back into this race late on. Hüttler must be careful whilst going off in pursuit of Franz Zorn. Zorn is looking over his shoulder, trying to bring his teammate in. Ebner goes for the inside line off the final 2 turns. Drag race down to the line. Ebner's nicked it in the run down to the line. Lukas Hüttler denied second place. The Austrians pick up a 5-1 heat advantage coming off the final bend. A brilliant ride there from Charlie Ebner, and some good team riding from Franz Zorn, showing great awareness as well of where his teammate was in that one, heat number 10. Good ride from the Austrian duo. Take the 5-1 they need from that one. Lukas Hüttler with a competitive ride though for third for the Czech Republic. Undoubtedly the biggest race of day 1. Sweden versus Russia. The 2 unbeaten meeting leaders go head to head. For Sweden, it's Ove Ledstrom off the inside gate in blue. 2 race wins already to his name. Daniel Ivanov off gate 2 for Russia in yellow. Gate 3 in red for Sweden, it's Niklas Svensson, and Dmitry Kolskov, the world champion, off the outside gate in white. Good start from the Russians. It's Daniel Ivanov who gets there first. The Swedes boxing one another in on the inside line. Good challenge off turn 2 from Ove Ledstrom. Manages to get into the mix. His teammate Niklas Svensson dropping back, but Ivanov has clawed his way to the inside line, beautifully coming off turn number 4, and makes it a 5-1 heat advantage to Russia. Sweden could have done with at least splitting the Russian duo here to stop the favourites from opening up a 4-point lead, but it's Daniil Ivanov who made the move coming off turn 4, just as we thought Ove Ledstrom might be able to split them. Coming into turn 3, Ledstrom had made a great move coming off the second bend on the inside, but it is the Russians now who've picked it up and look comfortable. Koltskov on the outside, Ivanov off the inside. The Swedes electing not to use Martin Hauri Hiltunen in this one after he suffered a heavy fall in heat number 7, and that might just cause them some problems here in the latter stages of day number 1, because we're seeing it on evidence of pace. The Russians have a significant advantage. Koltskov takes the checkered flag, his second race win of the day. A second paid victory of the meeting for Daniil Ivanov in second. The meeting leaders came into that one on 15 points apiece, but it's Russia who move on to 20, Sweden on to just 16, after that maximum heat advantage for Russia in heat number 11. Germany and Finland come into heat 12 on 5 points apiece, the Germans having put in their best result of the day last time out in heat number 8. And they've made the decision to bring in Max Niedermayer here as a substitute for Günther Bauer. So Niedermayer, for his first ride of the day off the inside gate, partners up with Hans Weber. For Finland, it's Matti Isoaho and Rami Sister off gates 2 and 4. We are underway. A lot of lift there from Hans Weber off gate number 3, and that really has hampered his run down to the first turn. It's the rider in white, Matti Isoaho for Finland at the moment, who holds second place. Hans Weber battling back on the inside line, puts Germany into a 5-1 position, but down goes his teammate Max Niedermayer. Niedermayer, the substitution, comes in and immediately falls on the first lap. Disaster for Germany. So 3 riders only here for the restaging, and this is going to cost Germany major points here against an unfancied nation in Finland. Matti Isoaho, what can he do here? Can he get the better of Hans Weber again from the start? The German, again with a lot of lift in the run down to turn number 1, and it is Matti Isoaho who picks up the race lead. Weber's going to have to do it from behind here. On the inside line again on turn 3, just as he was on the opening lap of the first staging, but this time Isoaho has the pace to hold on. Weber will go all the way around the outside, the long way round on turns 1 and 2. Isoaho hasn't moved to block, and Hans Weber hits the front. Germany, though, would have been expecting a 5-1 heat advantage from this race, and they're not going to get it after a fall and disqualification for Max Niedermayer. Was it an error on the part of the Germans to bring in a rider from the cold, quite literally, to replace Günther Bauer, their star man? Because Niedermayer has ended up causing Germany a bit of a headache here, dropping the 2 race points that Germany needed from this one. Isoaho now dropping back in second place. It is going to be a race win for Hans Weber, the Germans' first race victory of the day. That'll move them on to an 8-point tally, but they'll still be tied with Finland ahead of the final round of heats, and no one was expecting Germany to be so far back from the pace here today. Hans Weber takes the checkered flag, Isoaho in second, and eventually Rami Sister comes over the line for a second point scored of the day, and he's delighted with that. In fact, delighted just to be here by the looks of things in the World Team Championship. A 3-all, a shared result from heat number 12. 2 clear battles have emerged after 4 of 10 rounds of heats in 2018. 6 points separating the top 3 and just 2 covering the bottom trio. Final round of heats on the opening day here in Shadrinsk, and this could well turn out to be a crucial race in the battle for the silver medal. Sweden currently occupies second position on 16. Austria come into this one just 2 points behind them and have the inside start positions. Franz Zorn off 1, Charlie Ebner off 2 for Austria, Ove Ledstrom off gate 2, and Niklas Svensson off 4, and Ledstrom has completely missed it. The Austrians have popped out on a 5-1 heat advantage. Niklas Svensson splitting their duo, though, coming off turn number 2, getting the better of Charlie Ebner, and we immediately have 2 races in 1. Svensson going off in pursuit of Franz Zorn up front, while Ledstrom attempts to recover lost ground in the battle with Charlie Ebner for third place. Brilliant move up the inside there from Niklas Svensson. Franz Zorn thinks about a recovery down the inside but can't get there. And meanwhile, Ove Ledstrom roars around the outside of Charlie Ebner to make it a 4-2 heat advantage to Sweden. From a 4-2 to Austria to a 4-2 to Sweden in a matter of 2 turns. Great riding from the Swedish youngsters. It's Niklas Svensson who now leads, and Franz Zorn just didn't have the answer. He was caught completely unawares by Niklas Svensson's inside move on turns 1 and 2. Thought about the cut back down the inside into turn 3, but just didn't have the pace. And it's Svensson now who will make it a race victory for the Swedes His teammate closing in the latter stages, but can't quite get there on Franz Zorn for second. So 4-2, as I said. Sweden move on to 20. Austria on to 16. The gap 4 points now between the second and third place nations. Great ride there from the Swedes, because Austria popped out on a 5-1 heat advantage from the gate, and the Swedes have managed to recover it to a 4-2 in their favour. The Czech Republic versus Germany, these two nations have been also ran so far. It's the two heat leaders off the two inside gates. Lukas Huttler for the Czech Republic off 1 in blue. Günther Bauer off gate 2 in white for Germany. Vladimir Visveda off gate 3 in red for the Czech Republic. And Max Niedermayer taking his second ride of the day after a fallen disqualification last time out, looking for his first points of the meeting. Germany need a big maximum heat advantage from this one, but it's going to be tough to get it because it's Lukas Huttler who's popped out first. Günther Bauer moves him aside coming off turn 2, and Max Niedermayer is there as well. Germany on for a maximum heat advantage. They haven't had a heat advantage all day so far. Huttler splits them. Good move on Max Niedermayer coming around turns 3 and 4. Günther Bauer looking over his shoulder for his teammate and instead sees the Czech Republic rider, Lukas Huttler, directly behind him. And Huttler's stretched away from Max Niedermayer now. And Günther Bauer's got to make a tough decision whether to try and back Lukas Huttler into his teammate Max Niedermayer, because Germany desperately need the extra points, or whether to simply roar away and take the 3 race points. Bauer not having it all his own way in this one. Huttler still swarming around on his tail. Coming in now to the final lap. Bauer again looking over his shoulder, determined to check on the progress of his teammate, but Max Niedermayer is nowhere near, and Bauer needs to hold on for the 3 race points here because Huttler's charging hard, wide into turn 3, cut back off turn 4, Huttler, drag race down to the line, oh that's close. Bauer versus Lukas Huttler of the Czech Republic. The unfancied Czech rider has just about squeezed it in the drag race down to the line, and Günther Bauer, his wait for a first race victory of the meeting continues as the surprise package Lukas Huttler takes the checkered flag in Heat 14. Russia are already guaranteed the lead at the end of the opening day thanks to Sweden's drop point against Austria in Heat 13, but they'll be expected to open it up to 5 here in Heat 15. They have the inside gate positions and line up against Finland. Finland on 8 points so far, Russia on 20. Komet-Savic and Ivanov, their pairing up against Isoaho and Sister. Predictably, it's the Russians who are first away. Komet-Savic on gate number 1, getting there first, running Ivanov a little wide coming off turn 2. Ivanov looks over his shoulder before covering the inside line into turn 3, and Matti Isoaho's run is blocked out. To be fair to the Finn, he's kept up with the Russian duo on this opening lap, and he's going to try and spring a surprise here on the inside line. Ivanov working hard to provide the team riding role, with Dmitry Komet-Savic admittedly having looked the Russians' weak link at the opening round of the World Championship in Astana. He's on the outside line here, and Ivanov just covering the shortest route around on the inside. Komet-Savic finally looking for his teammate, but the Russians by now have managed to blast away from Matti Isoaho. Yellow and black quarter flag, they're into the final lap. It's Komet-Savic on the outside, Ivanov on the inside. Both of these riders have been champions in this competition before, and on the evidence of the opening day will be champions again in 2018. One-wheeled celebration in perfect synchronisation. They've had plenty of opportunities to practice that in recent seasons, the Russians. And it's Daniil Ivanov who finishes the day with the checkered flag ahead of Dmitry Komet-Savic in second. Good pursuit, particularly in the first half of that race from Matti Isoaho, but he comes up short in the end, and it's Russia who finished the day with a 5-1. The Finns moving on to 9, and Russia moving on to 25. So as I said, a further drop point for Sweden in heat number 13 means they drop 5 points behind leaders Russia, with Austria occupying the third of the provisional podium positions at the competition's halfway mark. Coming into the second day of competition in Shadrinsk, the top 4 teams are separated by a significant 14-point margin. But the battle in the minor placings was far closer on day 1. Finland and the Czech Republic scored a shared result when they met in Heat 5, and over their first 5 outings were tied on 9 points apiece, and Germany sat 2 points clear of them thanks to their 3-point score against Austria. We have a strategy, but it's been hard to ride together for us so far. When the distance between Charlie and I is so big, I just have to take the points. But every race is different, so let's see how it goes. We're in a strong position, but it's close in the points with us in third place, Germany 5 points behind, and Sweden 4 points ahead. Sweden started the opening day well with successive heat advantages, but with Martin Hilton sitting out their final 2 rides, Sweden conceded a 5-1 to Russia in heat 11 and then dropped a further point to Austria in heat 13. Martin had some problems yesterday after his crash and he wasn't feeling too good, so Nicholas and I rode the majority of the day. But the plan is to use him today and share the rides out because we're all at a similar level. The only other changes for today are some adjustments to the clutch. The ice is so hard here compared to Astana. When you're aggressive with the clutch, it just crushes the ice, so we need more feeling with it today. Russia shared their rides evenly on the opening day, but it mattered little which of their competitors lined up. They were never led after the opening lap and bring a 5-point advantage into the second block of 15 races. The second day of action here in Shadrinsk, and each of the teams now meet one another for a second time in reverse order compared to day 1. Russia versus Finland, a repeat of the lineup from heat 15, which Russia claimed with a 5-1 heat advantage over the Finns. Dmitry Koltkov and Dmitry Komitsevich, the Russian duo off gates 1 and 3. Matti Isuaho and Jussi Nairanen off gates 2 and 4. Heat 16 goes tapes up. Good start off 3 from Komitsevich. Koltkov is with him on the inside line. Koltkov actually a little bit aggressive there on Dmitry Komitsevich's teammate coming off turn number 2, almost as if he'd forgotten that individual competition doesn't get back underway again until next week. Matti Isuaho dropping back in 3rd place for the Finns. Did a good job in heat number 15, but doesn't have the same pace this time around. He will pick up the single point as things stand. And Isuaho, who scored 7 points on the opening day of Finland's 9, will add to that tally in this one. But it's going to be the expected 5-1 heat advantage for the Russians, who will move their personal tally on to 30 points. And will move well clear of Sweden. Sweden, of course, will have a race in hand against Austria in heat number 18. But it's Dmitry Koltkov, 4 times the winner of this World Team Championship competition, who takes the checkered flag in heat 16 ahead of Dmitry Komitsevich in 2nd. And a long wait before the Finns come over the line in 3rd and 4th positions, respectively. A 5-1 for Russia, as I said, that moves them on to 30. The Finns on a 3rd of their tally on 10 after that single point score for Matti Isuaho in heat 16. Germany was stunned by Lukas Huttler first time out against the Czech Republic. This is their opportunity for revenge. Günther Bauer off the inside gate in red, 5 points for Germany on the opening day. Lukas Huttler alongside him off gate 2, 8 points to his name. Hans Weber off gate 3, and Radek Huttler yet to score for the Czechs off the outside gates. The favourites off the inside 3 start positions. Good start from Günther Bauer off 1. Hans Weber trying to lock back to the inside, but Huttler has that move covered. And again, Hans Weber slow away from the tapes. Plenty of lift in the run down to the first turn. He's left himself with a lot of work to do. Günther Bauer leading the way. He hasn't taken a checkered flag all weekend so far, but looking set for his first race victory here. He's powered away brilliantly. Lukas Huttler under a great deal of pressure from Hans Weber. He's trying all sorts of different lines, but the inside isn't working for the moment. Weber again on the inside. This time he's made it work. Down the inside of Lukas Huttler for 2nd place. The Germans on for a 5-1. This is the type of result they need to get off to a perfect start on day number 2. Huttler battling back though. Weber a little bit out of sorts and out of shape. Down the inside of the straight. That sent him wide off turn 2. Huttler will spring a surprise. The pair clash down the back straight. Weber looking over his shoulder. He's run deep on turn number 3. Huttler up the inside. Another last turn move from Lukas Huttler. And again it's paid dividends. Lukas Huttler down the inside. And through he comes for a surprise 2nd place. A 4-2 heat advantage to Germany. Direct head-to-head contest for 2nd position in the overall standings between Sweden, who sit on 20, and Austria, who line up on 16. Zorn and Ebner off 1 and 3 for Austria. Ledstrom and Svensson off 2 and 4 for Sweden. Heat 18. Zorn with a good start from the pole. 2nd place is with Ove Ledstrom. He's run wide and Charlie Ebner tries to come through up the inside. It's a 4-2 as things stand to the Austrian team. And now it's Sweden who are left with the work to do once again. Charlie Ebner trying to find a way down the inside of Ove Ledstrom while Ledstrom goes off in pursuit of Franz Zorn, and Ebner in turn is under pressure. All 4 riders in the mix here. Svensson lunges for the inside on the top turn while his teammate makes a move down the inside of Franz Zorn. Brilliant for the race lead from Ove Ledstrom. Zorn battling back off turn number 2, but it's Ledstrom who has the pace, and out at the back, Ebner under real attack now as Svensson goes wide on turn 3 and 4. Ebner bobbles, Svensson goes for the cutback, and down the inside, drills a move back into 1 and 2. The Swedes on a 4-2 heat advantage, watched on now by Charlie Ebner from last position. Sweden on a 4-2, matching their result from heat number 13. That's the best they can do, but the disqualification light is on for Franz Zorn. Zorn has been disqualified for exceeding track limits in heat number 18, and Sweden are very, very fortunate there to pick up a 5-1. And Sweden's maximum over Austria now changes the complexion of that battle for the podium position somewhat, with the bronze medal seemingly the target for 4 of the competing nations. 5 points separating the top 2 countries who line up in direct competition here in heat number 20. It's Sweden on 25 versus Russia on 30. Russia could put one hand on the trophy if they can match their 5-1 against Sweden from heat number 11. Ledstrom off 1, Hara Hiltonen off 3, Koltikov off 2, and Ivanov off 4 for Russia. Heat number 20. Russia face Martin Hara Hiltonen for the first time here this weekend. He's there or thereabouts in the run down to the first turn. He gets up the inside of Ivanov coming off turn 2, but Ivanov just has the pace on the outside line off the second bend. And Martin Hara Hiltonen was done no favours there by his teammate Ove Ledstrom, who comes through down his inside off turn 2 and does so again at the end of the opening lap. And the Russians have taken the opportunity to blast away. Koltikov off gate number 2, perfection shown by him once again. And Daniil Ivanov will keep the Russian maximum going as he holds the inside line in second. Martin Hara Hiltonen pulling clear of his teammate Ove Ledstrom, but hasn't really been able to offer too much resistance to the Russians, who've put out their top duo for this one, heat number 20, and will move 9 points clear after this one, heat number 20, as things stand. It's going to be a 5-1 to Russia. Hara Hiltonen has tried absolutely everything. He's been smooth throughout, but couldn't quite keep the pace with the lead duo, and was never able to get in amongst them either. Koltikov with the whole shot off 2, Ivanov joining him for a maximum heat advantage. Russia move on to 35, Sweden just a single point in that one, heat 20, moving on to 26, and the Russians do indeed put one hand on the trophy in front of their home crowd. Those drop points for Sweden also give Austria an opportunity to make up ground, next time out in heat number 21 as they line up against the Czech Republic. The Czechs have the inside gates with Lukas Hutla and Vladimir Visveda. Austria with Charlie Ebner off gate 2 and Franz Zorn off the outside. Austria already managed 5-1 against the Czech Republic. They've gated on a 4-2. Zorn straight to the first turn first. Lukas Hutla on the inside coming off turn 2. Hutla really has proven a thorn in some of the lesser nation sides in this competition. The Czech Republic coming into this one completely unfancied after the withdrawal of Jan Klatowski, but Lukas Hutla has kept some pride in their national flag, and he holds on to second place here. Charlie Ebner nowhere near the tail of him at the moment. Ebner having made a couple of customary last bend attempts on overtaking manoeuvres here this weekend. At the moment, not close enough to strike for another. It's going to be a 4-2 to Austria. Ebner creeping around the curb, hoping that an opportunity will come, but at the moment the closer race is up front. Lukas Hutla keeping up a great pursuit of Franz Zorn and really demonstrating some world class this weekend, Lukas Hutla. Final turn for the final time is going to be Franz Zorn, but only just ahead of the Czech challenger Lukas Hutla, who's put in a great couple of rides this weekend. He takes the second place for the Czech Republic, but it is a 4-2 to Austria, with Zorn out in front and Ebner packing in third position. The Austrians move on to 21 and the Czechs on to 13. So although not mathematically secure, top spot looking set to go the way of Russia, but 3 teams all looking capable of appearing in the 2 places on the podium behind them with 3 rounds remaining. Sweden definitely have the kinder heat draw in the remainder of the meeting, and Germany have the toughest as they're still set to meet Sweden and Russia for a second time. Germany versus Austria here, and the Germans badly need a 5-1 from this one to keep their medal hopes alive, with Austria still yet to take on Finland for a second time. Bauer and Weber versus Ebner and Zorn for heat 23. Just a single point between these 2 nations coming into this one. Zorn hits the front. Günther Bauer, though, prizes his way past coming off turn 2 to put the Germans on a 4-2. This would move them into a medal position as things stand. What can Franz Zorn do to make amends? He looks to the inside on turn 1. He's under pressure though from Hans Weber, who almost got the better of him coming off turn 4 last time around. All 4 riders closely packed together. Günther Bauer's gone mid-track this time. That was a mistake. It's impeded the run of Hans Weber and also allowed Franz Zorn to hit the front. And Charlie Ebner bundled past coming off turn 4 as well before Hans Weber squeezed back around for 3rd place. So Germany had an opportunity to take a 5-1 for a while there. Certainly a 4-2. And Günther Bauer made an error on the top turn, blocked his own teammate, and he's still getting in Hans Weber's way, frankly. Charlie Ebner creeping round the curve, picks off Weber, picks off Bauer as well, and Austria on a 5-1 on the final 2 turns. Zorn takes the checkered flag, and an opportunistic ride from Charlie Ebner to take the big 5-1. Günther Bauer is devastated, a massive result for the Austrians, and surely that settles the bronze medal at very least. Franz Zorn and Charlie Ebner very pleased indeed with that effort, but it was Ebner who did the hard work. He was a little bit fortunate. Günther Bauer impeding his own teammate for an entire lap. Weber dropping back. Ebner coming through a 5-1 to Austria. Sweden must drop a maximum of 1 point from back-to-back races here to keep their slimming title chances alive. They line up as the favourites against fellow Scandinavian nation Finland, who have gates 1 and 3. It's Niklas Svensson and Martin Harri-Hiltunen for the Swedes. Sweden on 26 really need a big 5-1 here, and they have made the start. Harri-Hiltunen from the outside getting across well. Niklas Svensson alongside him coming off turn 2 actually relegates him to 2nd place. Harri-Hiltunen under some pressure from Matti Isoaho coming around the top turn, and he's been the Finn star all weekend so far, scoring the vast majority of the Finnish 11-point total. Their battle still to come later on in this meeting as they bid to avoid bottom spot, but realistically, the Swedes were already expected to pick up a 5-1 in this one. Harri-Hiltunen not having it all his own way. He's having to work hard to cover off Matti Isoaho, who looks to the inside again, coming off the turns. He's just waiting for Harri-Hiltunen to lose some speed and lose some drive, and he'll be able to find a way through. So under pressure into the closing stages here, Sweden. Looking good for a 5-1, but they can't rest on their laurels. Matti Isoaho right behind them. Harri-Hiltunen doing the defensive work here from 2nd position. And he and the Swedes will hold on. It's a 5-1 heat advantage in heat number 24, matching the Swedes' result from heat 7. The second 5-1 against Finland, somewhat predictable, but a crucial result nonetheless in the context of the championship chase. 5 points for Sweden, moving them on to 31 points. So gaps of at least 5 points separate each of the teams, aside from the bottom 2, whose fight to avoid the wooden spoon goes into the final 2 rounds. Sweden must secure a heat advantage here to keep their mathematical hopes of victory alive, so Russia could well be crowned champions in heat 25, despite not featuring in it. It's Germany versus Sweden. Günther Bauer off 1, Ove Ledström off 2, Max Niedermayer off 3, and Niklas Svensson off 4. Hans Weber sitting this one out for Germany. Bauer and Niedermayer, their duo. Niedermayer with a decent jump, a decent run down to the first turn, but he's run wide off turn 2. Günther Bauer, his teammate, challenging on the inside of Ove Ledström for the lead, but Niedermayer has gone to the back. Bauer picks up the race lead, but Ove Ledström cutting back, coming off turn number 4. We've got a real race on our hands for top spot. Ove Ledström thundering down the inside of Günther Bauer, who's been leaving too much room on the inside coming into the turns here today, and it's cost him once again. He goes wide on turns 3 and 4. Niklas Svensson now alongside, and Sweden pick up the pre-race prediction of a maximum heat advantage. Despite those outside gates, despite Günther Bauer hitting the front, he slipped back down to 3rd, and after victories in his opening rides, it's been a struggle since then for Günther Bauer. Ove Ledström pulling clear now of his teammate Niklas Svensson, and Sweden needed to secure a heat advantage from this one to keep the meeting alive. They're going to take it at very least to heat number 27, where Russia race against Austria. Ledström wins it, Svensson over the line in 2nd, and in the end 3rd place is going the way of Max Niedermayer. So Günther Bauer's been disqualified from that one. Heat number 25, it makes little difference to the result anyway, which was already going to be a 5-1 to Sweden. Heat 26, a maximum heat advantage for the Czech Republic here would put 5th place beyond doubt. They line up against their direct rivals for that 5th position, Finland, the Czech Republic on 14 and Finland on 12. Lukas Huttler and Vladimir Visveda for the Czech Republic, Matti Isoaho and Jussi Nairanen for Finland. Up go the tapes. Good start off one from Lukas Hüttler. Vladimir Visveda is out with him, and the Czech Republic are on the 5-1 they need. Inside challenge here from Matti Isoaho through into second place. Aiming to keep Finland's hopes alive. And dropping Vladimir Visveda. What can his teammate Jussi Nairanen do from last position? Nairanen yet to score here on day 2 in Shadrinsk. But he's certainly on the pace of Vladimir Visveda. We've got 2 races in 1 here. As Isoaho sees what he can do about Lukas Hüttler out in front, and Jussi Nairanen closing on Vladimir Visveda out at the back. The race for 3rd position at the moment closer than the race for top spot. Visveda looking a little shaky coming off turn number 2. And Nairanen is now right on his tail. Outside line coming off turn number 4, almost side by side. Hüttler's got this one in the bag. Isoaho comfortable in 2nd position. But it's all about the race for 3rd position as Jussi Nairanen tries to get on terms with Vladimir Visveda. Turns 3 and 4 for the final time. Not quite. Nairanen held at bay. Visveda holds on. Good result then for the Czech Republic with a 4-2 heat advantage that puts them 1 step closer to 5th position overall. They've relied too heavily this weekend on Lukas Hüttler, who scored 16 of their 18 points. But they are still in mathematical contention for 4th position as well after that 4-2 heat advantage over Finland. The focus back on the medal positions for this one, Heat 27. Russia need just 2 points from their remaining 2 rides to seal the title and could do so here. Meanwhile, in the battle for 2nd position, anything other than a 5-point score for Austria and Sweden will be guaranteed silver. 2 points here for Austria would guarantee them bronze. Heat 27 could settle all 3 podium positions. The tapes rise. Zorn's made a good one off the inside. On board with Danil Ivanov as he cuts to the inside off turn 2 and puts the Russians into a 5-1 position. This would certainly be enough for the host nation to take the title with a ride to spare. Ivanov on the inside, Koltskov on the outside. Zorn was doing exactly what he needed to do on the first 2 turns and just try and unsettle the Russians by getting into the mix. But the Russians have been ice cool all weekend. They're gladiators, unbeaten from each of their rides. Koltskov on the outside, Ivanov on the inside, and this one now looking comfortable. Just as the Russians picked up a 5-1 over Austria in heat number 4, so too are they going to do so in heat number 27, and with 3 races to spare, will be able to celebrate official confirmation of their victory. They only needed to provide a finisher in each of their 2 final rides, so realistically, the job was already done. But it is Russia who claim the maximum heat advantage in heat number 27, and with it, the World Team Championship for 2018. 5-1 for Russia, putting them on to 45, an unassailable total, and leaving Austria on 27. And with the top 3 teams each separated by more than 5 points, Austria needing just a single finisher from their remaining outing, the podium places are settled with a round to spare. 2 points in this one for the Czech Republic will be enough for them to secure 5th position. A 5-1 for them would be needed to have a chance of taking 4th, and that looks unlikely up against Sweden, who line up off gates 1 and 3. Svensson and Harri Hiltunen for the Swedes. Harri Hiltunen looking over his shoulder in the run down to the first turn, realised he hadn't made a particularly good start, and Lukas Hüttler had. Side by side for 2nd position down the back straight. Niklas Svensson has hit the front. Hüttler, though, has crept around the curb to surprise Martin Harri Hiltunen. The Swede holds on, 5-1 to the Swedes, would move them on to 41 points. The Czech Republic would be left sweating on the result of heat number 29 in their quest to avoid the wooden spoon. Hüttler battling hard here, trying to find a way past Martin Harri Hiltunen. He knows that 2nd place would be enough for the Czech Republic. He goes for the outside on Harri Hiltunen this time around. He's tried the inside unsuccessfully. Great dart around the outside, and Hüttler sweeps through for 2nd position. Outstanding ride from Lukas Hüttler, representing the unfancied Czech Republic side here this weekend, and he's done a great job all weekend. And this will crown a superb effort from Lukas Hüttler. Individual brilliance from him secures 5th position for the Czech Republic. Finland will be relegated to the basement position. It's a 4-2 heat advantage for the Swedes. They would have expected a maximum return from that one, but Lukas Hüttler shines once again in heat 28. So the only positions awaiting mathematical certainty are 3rd and 4th. Germany still have a ride to come in heat 30, so could theoretically reach the 27-point total that Austria currently sit on. If they can just provide one finisher in this one, heat number 29, that will be enough for mathematical certainty on the bronze. Zorn and Ebner for the Austrians off gates 2 and 4 have predictably made the starts. Matti Isoaho is there or thereabouts though for the Finns and cuts past Charlie Ebner coming off turn 2. Ebner has the momentum down the back straight, but Isoaho has the inside line and has come through well for second position. He's been the only competitive Finn really this weekend. 3 debutants for World Team Championship competition for them, but Isoaho has held up well against the top sides. Inside line challenge for the race lead, but the race has been stopped. So the race has been brought to a halt, the red lights are on, and we will go again with a restaging of heat 29. Well, it's going to be a second time of asking for this one, Finland versus Austria, and it's without the disqualified Franz Zorn. So 3 riders only, Isoaho, Sister and Ebner. And Charlie Ebner is under a great deal of pressure to finish now. Otherwise, Germany would be left in mathematical contention for the bronze. Ebner's made the start. From the outside gate, he's there first. And this time manages to see off the challenge of Matti Isoaho off turn number 2. Good start for Charlie Ebner in this one. Looking for his first race victory of the day against Matti Isoaho, who holds second position. He's done a good job for Finland this weekend, Matti Isoaho. He scored the bulk of their points, but will he be able to get the better of Charlie Ebner? It's a one-on-one fight for the race lead in heat number 29. Rami Sister is well adrift. It's been a struggle for him this weekend, although we've seen him celebrating, finishing at the back already this weekend. He seems to have enjoyed himself just participating. Austria are going to do enough in this one with Charlie Ebner out in front. All of the finishing positions will be settled here, but we still have a one-on-one duel in the closing stages between Charlie Ebner and Matti Isoaho. The Finn on the final 2 turns, looking for the inside. Ebner's left a little bit of room, but not quite enough. And it's Charlie Ebner who takes his first checkered flag for Austria, ahead of Matti Isoaho in second position. Austria guaranteed third place ahead of Germany. Finland relegated to the bottom of the pile by the Czech Republic, who take 5th. And the top 2 positions, of course, settled in favour of Russia and Sweden. So no finishing positions resting on the final race of the day between Russia and Germany. The only question is as to whether Russia can maintain their maximum hopes. Koltkov and Komet-Savic off 1 and 3, Niedermayer and Weber off 2 and 4. It's Komet-Savic who takes the whole shot. Dmitry Koltkov on the inside line coming off the second bend. Max Niedermayer getting the better of his team partner Hans Weber. But it doesn't look as though it's going to have too much of an impact on the result of this one, heat 30. Koltkov and Komet-Savic playing amongst themselves now, whilst the Germans are doing the same out at the back, and Hans Weber actually gets out of shape coming off the second bend, and that surely will end his challenge for a point-scoring position in this one. Just 2 points from his 2 previous rides on day 2 here in Shadrinsk. Hans Weber, Günther Bauer was left out of this one, giving the less experienced riders an opportunity to shine, and they were unable to do so against the Russians. Length of a straight now separating Dmitry Koltkov out in front from Max Niedermayer back in third, and Dmitry Komet-Savic has even slipped away from the pace of Dmitry Koltkov, who's looking the favourite for the world title this season in 2018. Dominant start to the campaign for him in Astana, and hoping to continue that on through the remaining 4 rounds this season. Russia surely will provide the individual world champion this year, but they've certainly provided the world team champion on home ice in 2018. Dmitry Koltkov and Dmitry Komet-Savic confirm an unbeaten maximum for the Russian side. Margins between the teams in the end betray what was, for each of the sides other than Russia, of course, a close-fought affair with a battle for the podium positions. Our feeling is good because we've made the podium and that's what we're fighting for. Of course, there were only 2 of us, so we were riding continuously, and today was a little bit different, a few mistakes, but we're happy with third place.
Die vorgegebenen Läufe, obwohl es heute war es noch sehr schwierig. Es war schon eine mentale Sache, weil
this weekend everything has worked very well. All of our riders have done a very good job, and we're very happy with this position. We're very happy with the outcome of the meeting, and we are very happy that we did it without dropping any points. We prefer it this way. We would like to say a big thank you to our mechanics as well as to all of the fans and viewers.
своими сокомандниками и со своими механиками, и, конечно же, нашими спонсорами. Вот, огромное спасибо всем.
Russia remain unbeaten in their last 28 heats of team competition, stretching back 2 years. By maintaining that unbeaten run, string together an incredible 36th victory in the FIM World Team Championship.